morning, everyone. Again, this is Mark Cabrera here. I'd like to talk to you guys about know when you need a coach. Are you distracted with tasks unrelated to business? This is like I said, like the emails that never needed to be checked to begin with, that kind of thing. Now we go to motivation. 80% of your answers to your issues and problems that you're running into is motivation. The excuses come out of lack of motivation. Think about it. You don't feel like getting up in the morning. You're not motivated. And then you pretend to be sick. That was the other part. I mean, I'm pretty sure we run into that at some point in our lives that we're like, okay, what? Let me be sick today. So, yeah, your motivation is basically drives everything around you. If you're depressed, good luck. It's hard. It's a much harder task to actually stay motivated unless you learn how to compartmentalize your emotion, which means you put your game face on. You've heard of that before, right? Put your game face on. When you're actually, when you're actually there, you're like lit up because you are not thinking about anything else but the focus of actually being able to do the things you want to do or you need to do or you have to do, right? Motivation. That's 80%. That's the really like most, that Pareto principle, 80-20. 80% of your success come from this motivation part if you're motivated to do it. So that's where your coach come in. Why you need a coach is because that coach can maintain motivation for you on a regular basis. See, the way I look at it, motivation is like food. You don't stay motivated or you don't put in motivation like listening to like motivational speeches by famous people, some of them, or like experts in their field kind of scenario. I listen to that YouTube videos all the time when I'm feeling like I'm getting distracted. Let me just spend 5-10 minutes getting myself motivated. Start listening to someone about what it takes to be successful, or hard work. What is hard work is all about? What is discipline all about? So I listen to these because I'm eating. See, like I'll give you an analogy. It's like if I'm listening I listen to Denzel Washington.
So never give up.
Actually, speaking about his career and how he started actually, and how this one lady from the barbershop said that you're gonna go travel around the world, but he never expected he would be in this manner, and he would be speaking to millions of people. That's what this person was saying. So he started talking about this. So motivating, right? This is the way I look at it. It's like eating steak. Man, that's my steak. Because what I just did is I actually listened to somebody's life, and I said to myself, hey, I can somewhat relate to where he comes from. He came from a poor background, and he actually, pulled himself off the bootstrap or whatever they call that, and make it through, right? And then you have other like people like Oprah Winfrey.
In 1964, I was a little girl sitting on the linoleum floor.
Actually, I know her story, right? So you listen to these people that kind of started a certain way and actually got to where they need to go. They're like my coaches in that sense. See, when I'm talking about coaching, I'm not just talking about having a coach. I'm talking about having a way of being able to be coached, right? So that's my lobster. See, let's say Oprah Winfrey is my lobster, right? And then we have like desserts, right? We have like, certain people like Matthew McConaughey. I was listening to him actually one time about how he looks at the world, right? Many people I've actually listened to. Actually, there's this one Marines person who actually was overweight and lost his weight and got into the Marines. He was actually bullied in school and everything. And he's a very famous motivational speaker. I can't remember his name right now, but he's all over YouTube, and I watch him. Right? I watch it because I watch him talk about discipline and self-sacrifice, right? And how you can get to where you need to go. right? So this is what it's all about. The motivation actually plays a big part of our success in our business. So then we talk about ideas. Your coach can help you generate your ideas of where you want your business to go, how you want your business to grow, and where you want it to be. At the end of the day, right? You can only come up with so much ideas. You need other perspective. So even on my Saturday morning at 7 to 9 a.m., I have like 10, 11 agents there. All of them are actually putting their inputs on what could be better. Someone chimes in on something, on the other person actually. So that's why I have group sessions and I have one-on-ones. The group session allows for that interaction to actually generate ideas for people to actually do better. So the ideas makes a huge difference. So ideas makes a big difference. When you have ideas from other people, coming from other people, it gives you a different perspective, and then you can actually like move forward any bottlenecks that you run into in your business. Then the next one is planning. A lot of the times, and most of us, we get into this business without a business plan. It's like going into a ship without a rudder, no direction. Putting out your sail that doesn't actually move, so you don't know what direction you're going. And you don't have a destination. All this is in the planning process. And if someone can better guide you through that process is a coach. Having a coach, having a mentor to actually show you exactly step by step what you need to do at what particular time and what time you're actually going to be. So then you have personal life and you have business life, and they're kind of separated in that sense. Because if you lose the separation, that's where divorce happens. And there's a huge amount of divorce in our business because of that reason, because the other person doesn't feel like they're important anymore. Because the other person is a successful agent and all they're focusing on clients. They forgot about their kids, they forgot about their wife, they forgot about everything, right? Or their husband or whatever. And the neglect actually kind of builds up. And the coach job is to make sure that that is part of the plan, to make sure that you have time for your family. You have time for yourself. You have time for your spiritual self, right? Not just the emotional self. So all these things need to be balanced, because remember again, the product is you. It's not a house. It's you. So if you're not balanced and you're depressed, try talking to a client and convince them to buy a house with you when you're depressed. Okay? What do you think of this house? No, come on. Really? You know, that roof, I had an experience in a roof like that before. You know, it's so sad. You know, I'm still dealing with it right now. It's leaking. Try to sell that house. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, like, it's hard to really be around depressed people. I mean, believe me, sometimes I even tell people like, hey, you know what? It's time to get a therapist. You know, I got this one good therapist that you can talk to. I mean, changed my life. I mean, it could change yours, you know? Be the resource to those people, you know? If that makes sense, right? So planning requires several things. One, it requires for you to have a schedule. Just like at work. If you've ever been employed, you have to be at work at a certain time and end at a certain time. Do you agree? Okay. Why not your business? Why can't you be at work at a certain time and end your day at a certain time? Why not? Because we're unemployed when we come in here. We don't think planning. We don't plan these things, right? Plan it out. 2 hours of prospecting is what my prescription, man. I'm the real estate doctor here. I'm prescribing 2 hours of prospecting every single day, and exclude the weekends, so you have personal life, right? But if you just did that, and I swear to you, if you did it consistently, your business is going to triple from where you are right now, because more than 50%, 60, even 80% of the agents don't even do that. The successful agents does. 80% of the successful agents, they all prospect, I guarantee you. The 20% got lucky. I mean, there's always part of it is luck, you know? You meet the right person, and like this one person I was telling you, like, oh, I sold 8 houses. Actually, as a matter of fact, last year I went to a conference, and 2 years ago, actually, before the COVID, I met this Filipino guy, and we hung out, and he was like, man, he was receiving the same award as me, like $500,000 or, you know, or $250,000 like trophy or whatever, right? And he's like, yeah, you know, man, I was so lucky. I sold 2 lots in the Philippines, and actually I made over $250,000, and that's how I'm getting this award. And I looked at him, like, really? Man, you know how many houses I had to sell to actually get there? And I was like, what's your goal next year? It's like, oh, my goal next year? My goal is to sell one and make the same amount of money. And I'm like, oh my gosh, are you serious right now? But some people actually just, and if you see his roster of people on his Instagram, or like, Facebook, or all his friends, I mean, they're like famous actors and actresses. I mean, he gets to hire. They even have their own little page of like all the famous people. Actually, he's actually part of it. He's just doing this as a hobby, I guess. But that's the crazy thing, right? People just get lucky. Some people are just lucky, right? But I don't think all of us are lucky like that, right? So what we got to do is we create our own luck. We create our own path to actually becoming successful. And the planning of your schedule is very important. But the writing down is your blueprint. If you see that picture, that's your blueprint. Your blueprint is your business plan. Because a house doesn't get built without a blueprint. Otherwise, it can be built, but it's questionable whether or not it's correctly built, because everything requires calculation, weight calculation, distance calculation, how much post and how much footings you need, that kind of thing. All that thing requires calculation. So if you're guessing this way through, or you have experience and you just do it like the way we do real estate, yeah, okay. You're going to have a shack. And the minute that the next rain comes around, your whole house is being washed away with it, right? And that's the same thing in real estate. You don't have a business plan, you don't have a business. What you have is a dream. And luck. Maybe the wind blows the right way, right? I mean, sometimes that happens. But it doesn't always happen. And that's the point I'm trying to make. If it doesn't always happen, then we should follow a business plan. That's where your coach come in and set that up. And whoever's coaching you, that's what they should be doing. They should be setting you up on a path of success to a business plan. And then the third part, you see little gears there, right? Little cogs of wheel, right? That is a representation of what it takes for a machine to work. Our business has a lot of cogs. Each of those cogs, each of those things that you see there is a representation of a home inspector, an assistant, a title person, a lender, a pest inspector, an appraiser. I mean, all the other agent that you have to deal with, all those things are cogs. And all those things has to work in order for you to get a transaction to close, right? Having a coach can make sure all those cogs are oiled properly to make sure that the machine runs. And what people don't realize, oh, this one cog, I can just miss this, let me just not do the inspection for this client, and I'll walk through the whole, all hell broke loose, basically, because the inspector was not dealt with at the time it needed to be done. You can't request anything from the seller in some cases. And then you go to walk through, the place is a mess, and the seller, the buyer walks away. And all that work you just did went kaput. Went bye-bye. Yeah. And people don't realize what we get paid. By the way, guys, we get paid what we get paid because for all the times we don't get paid. That's the reason why we get paid what we get paid. So when a client tells me like, oh my gosh, I see your commission here is so big. I'm like, oh my gosh, can you imagine how much time I spent with clients that never paid me anything? It's like a lot of hours, I can tell you. I've shown hundreds and hundreds of houses that I never got paid for. Oh man, I'm so lucky I actually got a portion of that back. Great. Now I can feed my family.